welcome in to Getting Help from Uncle Sam. Actually, Jack, we're going to be talking about
we're
getting
gonna-
help
we're
from
gonna
the
water
county
it down to the-
commission.
Yeah.
We're going to get down where the hay is and the goats can
right.
get at it,
That's right.
as Southerners say.
We can call from Mother Montgomery here.
Rhonda Walker, you are a county commission on the county commission, and you are actually, folks, she's the only lady on the commission and the first one in 15 years. She is a real, just a regular gal. She's a mother, she's a wife, you know, she has children, she's been through a lot of obstacles and overcome them, and we are just delighted to have you with us.
Thank you.
And we talked to you about the education system and how the county commission affects that. This time we'd like to talk about crime, public safety, and what part the commission plays in that.
Okay. There's a direct correlation actually between education and crime.
Yes.
If children fall behind, they can look, the data shows that they can look at statistics by third grade. The children that have fallen behind, the children that have even are zoned to drop out, they can look at that data and guess how many beds we're going to need in our prison down the road. So there's a direct correlation between the two. So it is the most important issue because it does have impact, long-term impact. Crime in Montgomery County is a problem. We have in the county proper the sheriff's department. Derek Cunningham is our sheriff, and he is phenomenal.
He is
He's phenomenal.
Derek.
Not
He's
only
wonderful.
is he tough on law and order, he takes care of business in the county, but he's a great guy, and he's working. He gets that we need to develop relationships with kids, school kids, kids in the community, so they don't have a fear of law enforcement, so they have a relationship with law enforcement, and so they don't get in the system down the road. Within the city limits of Montgomery, we have more challenges with regard to crime and what we need more officers. We need more people willing to serve. It's an incredibly difficult job, and the pay compared to the risk is
Not worth it.
is not
No.
well
I mean,
unless you're passionate about it. No, it's not. It's not a job you're
Right.
going to take for the money. You have to be passionate about it. So we need more great people willing to serve and protect.
Yeah, and we need people in the community that are non-law enforcement to support law enforcement.
Yes.
It's a very important thing.
Yes.
I remember, because I've been here a long time, and you're a lot younger than I am, but maybe you even remember when the county jail was on the third floor of the county building, and probably had what, maybe 200 beds?
Right.
And then they decide, well, we got to build a bigger jail. And now we have the annex, which is a bigger jail. So obviously the county houses anybody in Montgomery County that needs to be in a jail. And then do you get state prisoners or
And federal as well.
Federal.
So it's a broad population.
So hopefully those that are using your facility are anteing up for
Absolutely,
use of that.
absolutely.
Good.
If they're not Montgomery County, then other counties and the federal government, they pay to have prisoners stay in our jail.
If you had to pick two places to put the support of the county commission against crime, what would they be? What would you do with the money that you feel would be most effective to prevent, to cut down the crime problem?
Education, like we've talked about before, the district attorney, Darrell Bailey, he has a program that he goes into the schools to teach the kids. If you don't get them by 5th grade, you don't get them.
That's right.
So we've got to put that emphasis on the elementary, on the K through 5th. Middle school is tough. So continuing to get members of leadership into the schools. The DA's office needs more money. The state has cut them so drastically. DA's offices across the state, it's hard. They can't prosecute. But how do you get it on the front end? How do you stop it? More presence of law enforcement and more of a relationship. Chief Finley has his officers do the park, stop, and walk. They come into a neighborhood and park their car, and they just walk door to door to meet the citizens. We've got to break down that barrier of mistrust between citizenry and the police, because those guys are doing a good job and working hard. So I think more presence of officers and be tough on the front end, get them while they're young, be tough on the front end, but then we've also got to make sure the DA's office is equipped to do what they need to do.
And
And make these folks realize if you do it, you're going to pay.
And adults need to be a better role model for the small kids with relationship to law enforcement.
A large part of the thing that we're struggling with in Montgomery is the degradation of the family unit.
Yes.
We don't have the traditional family
nationwide.
structure. It's nationwide,
Yeah,
and Montgomery is a
absolutely.
microcosm
That's right.
of what we see nationally.
I agree.
We don't have a mom and a dad
Right.
raising and instilling values in their children. And we've got to build back that community. We've got to build back that structure. Kids are raising themselves,
Right.
and they're not doing a good job of it.
And that's where the churches really need to be involved.
Yeah.
Really. They need to, it's the strong arm of the law and the strong arm of God. And the strong arm of God has to happen through the churches.
We are at a loss for how we're going to stop the crime in Montgomery. It's overwhelming. It's a devastating problem, and I have a biblical worldview. So I do know and trust that there is a power beyond what we can come up with, and we have got to have an influx of spirituality just flood over us. And there's a lot of darkness out there, and light pushes out the darkness.
Right.
And ultimately, that's going to solve our problem. We have things that we can do practically, but ultimately it's a spiritual problem.
Right.
Well, that goes
got
back
it.
again
You got
to
it.
all of us who are Christians stepping up to the plate and our churches being more involved. And because
Right.
each one of us can make a difference.
Absolutely.
You know, it's not like you sit here and say,
Right.
there's nothing I can do. Yes, there is. Get involved.
Yes.
Volunteer. Do something to
That's
make
right.
a difference. Everybody has time to do it. You just have to care enough. And this is our future. Our children are our future. Thank you so very much
Thank
for
you,
being
guys.
with us. And we just appreciate everything you do. And we'll have you back again. It's a
I would love
pleasure.
that. Thank you.
And thank you all for being with us. And get involved out there. And we'll be right back.